Well, I am only a soul trapped in stone, so my magnificent mind is limited only to reach those who share the sting of injustice." The Draconicus seethed at the last word, momentarily abandoning his showmanship-like malevolence. "You know in the back of your mind what they did just wasn't fair. But wait. What if you weren't a rare species such as the regal yet misunderstood griffin, but a common yet immediately accepted pony? Would you have shared the same fate in such an instance?"
"Stop talking in riddles and get to the point," said Gilda impatiently.
"Oh, I have yet to speak in circles, my dear Gilda," said the statue. "Just listen to my words carefully, for they hold meaning of paramount importance. You are a rare breed, one that is not around pony folk all too often. Therefore, you are not a species that is necessarily understood. Ponies tend to be afraid of what they don't understand. Now, it's not their fault. It's common pony nature. Griffins are elegant, regal beings. However, they are also looked upon as dangerous. Such a strong body, razor-sharp talons, and mastery of the sky. What isn't there to be spooked of? So wouldn't it be easier, from a pony point of view, to simply banish such a powerful creature, regardless of the unfortunate fate it may bring to said griffin? Such shame, such dishonor. They knew what would become of your reputation, but they just didn't care. They could have been fair, lenient even, but no. Just because they don't understand you, they took it upon themselves to be unlawfully in deciding your fate, just because you're not one of them."
Gilda hadn't been ready to hear any of that. She had been angry and confused, not knowing if she still had a firm grasp on reality. But now, the statue's words just...
"Are things starting to clear up?" the Draconicus asked with a menace in his voice. "Is everything in perspective now? It's a lot easier to see when something lights the torch, isn't it?"
Okay, I get it. Enough with the metaphors," Gilda replied heatedly.
"Mm-hmm," the statue chuckled. "Such fire. Ideal for the leader of a revolution."
"What?" "Well, you can't just let such injustice go unpunished, can you?
Can you really sleep peacefully, knowing your kind is being discriminated against?"
"But what happened with me was a one-time thing. Even if it were the case..."
Gilda trailed off, unsure of her thoughts anymore. The statue cackled once again. "Think about this, young griffin. The mayor of Ponyville made this decision, but not without discussing it with other ponies first. Not only did they approve such action, but the entire town cheered for it."
"How could you know about any of that?"
"You are not the only mind that I have heard," said the Draconicus. "There have certainly been other ponies, but that's not what's important. What's important is your vengeance."
Gilda paused for several moments, thinking over what the statue had said. At first the idea seemed ridiculous, but once he explained it so thoroughly, Griffin didn't know what to think anymore. "Who are you?" she asked again, this time narrowing her eyes at the statue's own.
"I guess you have the right to know who I really am," said the Draconicus. "My name is Discord, young griffin."
That name seemed familiar, but Gilda didn't dwell on it. "Discord, huh? Pretty cool name, I guess, for a rock," she jibed. "Your words seem legitimate, but why would you want to help me? What do you care?"
"The real question is, why wouldn't I?" Discord replied in his sly voice. "Maybe I want to see an end to the segregation. Maybe I wish to bring harmony to Equestria. Or maybe a good bit of chaos is always enjoyable." Discord's voice cackled menacingly before fading away, leaving Gilda alone with her thoughts. She stared at the statue for a long time, feeling a stir in her emotions. Her anger arose once again, this time with reason, with purpose. However, she didn't scowl, but grinned. Her mad smile curved through her cracked beak,
her eyes narrowing without focus. "I know what I must do." Rainbow Dash felt her wings cry out in pain, still far too exhausted to keep her aloft. Once she was out of view of Sweet Apple Acres, the Pegasus landed on the pathway that led to Ponyville. She positively loathed being on the ground, but her body simply wasn't ready for flight just yet. It would have felt odd to have to walk, if not for her previous injuries keeping her out of the air. Recently, Rainbow Dash had suffered quite a few wing-related fractures from her practices, which were becoming more and more complex. This is why she had refused to go to the hospital for her recent health-related dilemma. Sure, her insurance from the weather team was top-notch, but there still were heavy deductibles. She simply couldn't afford to get hurt again, which Twilight had told her again and again. Twice her left wing had been broken. Both times she was grounded for a few weeks. Even the stubborn Rainbow Dash had to admit she needed to be more careful. Thankfully, she was only exhausted this time. Rainbow Dash walked down the dirt road to find the colorful buildings that ran along the border of town. "What was I doing again? Oh yeah, find Scoodloo," she thought. "Heh, such a funny name. Scoodloo." Rainbow shook her head, finding it disturbing that even her mind was starting to lose it. How could she still be so drained? She had slept for more than she had in a long time. So why did she feel like she was unable to walk? Dash suddenly felt like turning around and heading back to the farm, seeking Applejack's care. She hated the thought of asking for help, even if it was from the pony she couldn't stop thinking about. There was something so heartwarming of how the farm pony had taken care of her. Rainbow winced at how submissive she was to Applejack's nurturing manner. The Scion Pegasus stopped dead in her tracks when she felt a painful twitch in her chest. What was that? She felt her heart beat uncontrollably, but not in the way that usually occurred when she thought of the farmer. This time she felt much more physical pain, not just an emotional one. It kept happening. Her heart beat fast, and then dropped unexpectedly before repeating the process. She found her legs shaking in panic. What was happening to her? Rainbow Dash couldn't seem to catch her breath, her lungs heaving without her brain telling them to. Her mind was racing, panic overtaking her. Her vision started to fade, blackness enveloping. No, I can't pass out here," she pleaded to herself. "Come on, Rainbow, stay." It was no good. Her mind couldn't stay active. She felt herself fall. Dash thought she could hear some pony call her name. "What happened now?" "I don't know. The doctor said she didn't have any broken bones. I don't think she crashed or anything. Maybe she just fainted." Rainbow felt her eyelids flutter open, her vision taking its sweet time to focus on the two figures standing on either side of her. She found her surroundings familiar. An uncomfortable bed, scratchy bedgown, and white walls, all accompanied by a monotonous beeping. She felt a patch on her chest, recognizing the heart monitor. This time she was given her own private hospital room, which was painfully small. Rainbow Dash groaned as she realized where she was. Twilight stood to her left, looking as relieved as Rarity, who was on the right. "Rainbow Dash, what happened?" asked Twilight in a concerned tone. "We found you on the ground outside Ponyville, and we—" "She was having a heart attack," said the prominent voice of a new pony entering the patient ward. It was Dr. Stable, Rainbow Dash's usual caretaker. He strode over to the end of the bed, giving Dash his usual empathetic look. "Heart palpitations, to be more specific," he concluded. "Heart palpitations?" Rarity repeated, sharing Twilight's confused expression. "What could have caused that?" "Well, palpitations in patients whom do not have any sort of heart disease can get attacks due to severe amounts of stress, anxiety, or panic," Stable answered. "Quite frankly, this is the last thing I expected to see you here for, Rainbow Dash. You don't have any history of panic or anxiety disorders. Actually, you have one of the healthiest hearts I've seen in a while. So whatever caused your attack, which was severe, by the way, must have been quite a doozy." Rainbow didn't respond. The only thing she could focus on was yet another hospital bill that she couldn't afford. She gave the intravenous line on her foreleg a sad look and heaved a sigh. She must have been dehydrated again. You will be able to leave once the IV is completely drained. My instruction to you this time is to drink lots of fluids and relax. It isn't my business to ask what caused your attack, but whatever it was obviously took a toll on your body. For the next week, I don't want to have you overexert yourself in any way. Keep your flights brief and don't try anything rash. That means no aerial acrobatics for at least 1 week. Now I know that isn't what you want to hear, but if you...
No, I get it, Doc. I won't practice for a while.
Dash interrupted, her eyes half closed, unfocused on the blanket covering her. Dr. Stable blinked. Oh. Well, I must say I was expecting a fight, but... Good. Glad to see you're thinking about your health for once. Now, Nurse Redheart will be checking in on you in an hour. Your friends can stay for as long as they like. And with that, Dr. Stable left, closing the door behind him. Twilight and Rarity returned their gazes back to Rainbow, who was still looking at her hind hooves with a sad expression.
Rainbow Dash, what happened? Asked Rarity, pure concern in her voice. What could have brought you, of all ponies, to such a state? When she didn't respond, Twilight asked, Rainbow, what's going on? You don't have to be afraid of telling us whatever's bothering you.
Yes, I do,
Dash replied, embarrassed by her own voice cracking. She felt her eyes start to burn, threatening to spill over with tears. She couldn't let herself cry. It was the only attribute of herself she had left.
Oh, the poor dear,
said Rarity, brushing a hoof through the Pegasus's prismatic mane.
We're your friends. You can tell us anything. What would we be if you couldn't?
You wouldn't be if I told you,
sighed Rainbow. Twilight looked taken aback.
Now why wouldn't we be your friends anymore, Rainbow? There's nothing you could say or do to lose us. Whatever's bothering you is obviously worth getting off your chest. You've helped us 1,000,000 times. You're a good, loyal friend. Now be loyal to yourself. Please, just let us help you.
Rainbow Dash thought through her friend's words. Twilight was right. Dash was in a terrible condition. She had kept her feelings to herself for years, and now it was starting to explode within her. If she didn't at least get it off her chest now, her heart wouldn't be able to take it. This time it was heart palpitations. Next time it could be worse. She looked at her friends, uncertainty lingering on her face.
I don't know.
Would it be easier if it was just one of us?
Asked Rarity.
What?
Well, I noticed that sometimes it's easier to tell one pony a secret rather than 2, said Rarity. Neither of us will be offended, dear. Would that work?
Yeah, maybe,
Rainbow agreed. She looked back to Rarity.
I'm sorry, Rare, but would you mind stepping out? It's nothing against you.
Not at all, dear, said Rarity, waving a dismissive hoof. I'll be in the waiting room.